Fire is one of mankind's most ferocious and persistent enemies. Each year in the United States alone, it costs more than 10,000 lives and $1 billion in property damage. Consider what it might cost in a nuclear war when enemy bombs could cause dozens of fires in and near your home, even though you lived many miles from the target. Normally, if your house is threatened by fire, your community fire department is on the job. When someone is trapped, the same trained assistance is at hand. In a national emergency, however, trained firefighters may not be available. At best, they will only be able to fight the big blazes. They must save as many lives and as much property as they can. So practice and be prepared to fight fires in your home and your neighborhood. There may be no one else to do it. Your ability to act quickly before the arrival of the fire department might save your home or the life of a loved one. Training, tools, and plenty of practice are the basis for good home fire defense. At least one member of your family should receive training in firefighting so that he can pass his knowledge on to the others. Your family should hold firefighting drills regularly, and each member should have detailed assignments so that all will work as a team. Everyone should understand what starts fires, how they spread, and what can be done to control them. Every fire needs 3 things in order to burn. It needs fuel to burn, heat to make it burn, and air to keep it burning. Remove any one of these ingredients, and you have licked the blaze. Let's demonstrate this with a kitchen match. Watch it when you strike it. The head flares up and sets fire to the match stick, which is the fuel. The oxygen in the air then keeps the match burning. If you drop the lighted match into a bottle and cover the opening, however, the flame soon will smother for lack of oxygen. Or if you dip your lighted match into a glass of water, it will go out still quicker. The water has cooled the fuel so that the flame no longer can make the match burn. Burning liquids such as gasoline or grease are generally smothered, thus removing the supply of oxygen. This is why firemen use foam on oil or gasoline fires, just as you use soda on a grease fire in your own kitchen. Burning solids are generally extinguished by cooling them with water, as you see the firemen doing here. And of course, the best means of firefighting and of fire prevention is to remove the potential fuel for a fire. Fire can't burn if it has nothing to burn. Here are things you should do to protect your home from fire. First, give your house a good cleaning, but this time clean it for fire hazards. Give special attention to the attic and the basement. Instead of an attic, many modern homes have just airspace between the ceiling on the top floor and the roof. If your home has such a spot, make sure you can get to it through a trap door. Keep a ladder handy and never, never store anything there. Don't forget the yard, especially near the garage where storage and rubbish are likely to accumulate. Be sure that inflammable fluids are stored in tight metal containers outside the house. Do the same with oily rags. These have been known to catch fire by themselves. Check your wiring system for overloading and for worn-out cords. Check your heating plant, especially the chimney, pipes and connections. If the chimney needs it, clean it out. Replace cracked and rusted pipes and connections. One of the biggest potential fire hazards in everyone's house is the curtains, drapes, and slipcovers. Some fabrics are treated at the factory so they are fire resistant. If yours are not, treat them yourself so that you don't find yourself in this position. Rayons and cottons may be made fire resistant by dipping them in a solution of 9 ounces of borax and 4 ounces of boric acid in a gallon of water. This solution won't hurt anything that water won't hurt, but you will have to dip them each time they are washed. Your friends may say you're always the last one ready, but it is well worth the reputation if you spend the time shutting doors and windows. This improves your home's fire resistance tremendously. Closed interior doors will prevent a rapid spread of fire through the house. Water, and plenty of it, is an essential in your home fire defense. If you live in a house, you should have at least a barrel of it stored at all times. If you live in an apartment, you should have at least 1 bucketful for every 2 rooms. Keep the water in covered buckets in convenient spots on all floors. Don't run the risk of waiting until the alert sounds to draw water from the tap. If everyone did this, the pressure would fail. Next, you will want to have adequate firefighting equipment. They do not have to be expensive tools. Many household items are marvelous for firefighting. A broom, for instance, or burlap bags and small rugs which can be soaked in water. Your most useful tools will be a garden hose, a hand pump, and buckets for water and sand. To make the best use of your stored water, you will want a hand pump, either as a part of a water fire extinguisher or as a separate pump which can be used with any type of container. Remember, the taps probably will be shut off in an emergency. A hand pump extinguisher holds 4 or 5 gallons of water and is easy to refill. It should be operated by 3 people, 1 to use the hose, the second to pump, and a third to carry additional water. In a pinch, 2 persons can make out. Be sure your garden hose has a connection that will fit the faucets. Since the usual hose coupling will not go on the kitchen or bathroom faucets, you will have to have adapters on hand. If you have chemical fire extinguishers, keep them filled and be sure that every member of the family knows how to use them. They are excellent for small fires, but are of limited value in an emergency because they would be difficult to refill quickly. You will also want some buckets of sand for smothering fires, a long-handled shovel, and heavy gloves for disposing of burning objects. These will be especially helpful for kitchen grease fires which occur from time to time. Have a sturdy ladder on hand and keep it in good repair. An unsafe ladder is worse than none at all. When you use it, set the foot of the ladder about 1/5 of its length away from the wall. In climbing a ladder, put the balls of your feet on the center of the rungs. Keep your body erect. If you need to free both hands for work, brace yourself by hooking one knee over the rung above the one you are standing on. Then hook your toes around the lower rung or side rail. Having assembled your equipment, your next task is to make your family a firefighting team. Give every member assigned duties and coach him so that he will know how to perform them properly. Appoint a fire marshal to lead a systematic search for fire hazards, an inspector who will check the house and watch for the start of fires, and someone to be in charge of equipment. See that each member of the family knows what his job is whenever a fire does start. In fighting fires, don't lose your head. They can be fought successfully. Go to work with the tools at hand. Assume that help won't come, even though it may be on the way. Remember that any delay increases the fire's chances and lessens yours. Never stop fighting a fire except to save your own life. Don't try to search a burning building alone. Teamwork is always better. You can search more thoroughly and help each other if trouble arises. If possible, search from the top floor downward and look carefully in every hiding place. People who are confused, especially children and older persons, sometimes hide under the beds or in closets. If you should ever have to cope with incendiary bombs, such as those used so often during World War II, be sure to keep a piece of sturdy furniture between yourself and the bomb. Some contain a charge which blows up shortly after they start to burn. Spray the bomb and the area around it with water, avoiding a steady stream which might scatter the fire. After the bomb stops sputtering, you can turn a stream on it, throw sand or dirt on it, or use your long-handled shovel to drop it into a bucket. Then carry it outside. Along with your knowledge of home firefighting, you will need to know the rudiments of rescuing trapped persons. Like fighting fires, most rescue tasks require trained workers, and if possible, you should always leave ticklish rescue jobs to them. It may be necessary, however, to act before they arrive. Danger of fire, electric shock, or asphyxiation calls for immediate action. If you must act, take no more risks than absolutely necessary to ensure the victim's temporary safety. If the victim is unconscious, put her on the floor unless her injuries prohibit it. If you must move her, use one of the following methods. This is the fireman's drag. Turn the victim on her back and tie her wrists together. Then, kneeling astride her, put your head under her wrists and crawl forward, dragging her along. If you must move an unconscious person downstairs, place him on his back with his head toward the stairs. Put both arms under his armpits and cradle his head in the crook of one elbow. Then drag him downstairs slowly, letting his feet trail. This is called the incline drag. If you have a helper with you, a chair may be used. After lifting the victim gently into the chair, one rescuer carries the front legs and the other the back rest. This is called the chair litter carry. You can fashion an adequate stretcher from many things. A blanket, for instance, or 2 sweaters or jackets pulled over 2 stout poles. Or you can use your ironing board, a leaf from the dining room table, a door, or a shutter. Lay the piece on the ground, lift or slide the victim onto it gently, and tie him in place with strips of cloth. A 4-handed seat may be made by 2 rescuers. Each puts an arm around the victim's back and slips his other arm under the victim's thighs. By clasping wrists, one pair of arms makes the seat and the other the back rest. If the victim is in contact with a live wire, the rescuer must not touch her without protecting herself. Shut the current off if possible. If you can't, stand on dry wood or paper and cover your hands with heavy gloves or cloth before touching the victim. A still better system is to poke or pull the hot wire away from the victim with a dry stick, such as a broom handle or a rake handle. Leaking gas, fuel oil, or water are dangerous to unconscious persons. These hazards will be found especially in basements. When present, the victim must be removed immediately. Incidentally, Your utility companies probably have instructions for controlling damaged facilities. If you do not know what they are, check with the companies right away so that everyone in your family will know what to do if leaks develop. Your home rescue knowledge should also include knot tying. A rope will be one of your most valuable rescue tools, but not unless you know how to tie effective knots. Everyone in your family should learn the basic knots: the square knot, the bowline for lowering injured persons, the half hitch and clove hitch for moving timbers or other heavy objects. Remember to keep a good ladder around the house. This will be invaluable in rescue tasks. Use it properly. There will be enough casualties in an emergency without adding yourself to the list. If you have to lift debris or wreckage off of a victim, an excellent lever may be fashioned from many items around the house. A bed slat, spare length of pipe, pick or shovel or ironing board will do the job. Be sure to use a fulcrum or pivot that will not slip or crumble. When you are lifting a load in this manner, prop it up as you lift. Books, shoes, doorstops, or bricks may be used. This takes the weight off the lever so that you can get it in position to raise the load still higher. These techniques in rescue and in firefighting are important to your family's safety. Learn them and practice them with all members of your family. They may prove vital not only in an emergency, but in protecting your home and your loved ones day by day.